Namo Amida Butsu. You know, there are people who cannot wrap their head around why I choose to be a vegan. There are people that don't understand why I would stop eating meat. And there are actually, and I don't get this, there are people that will walk up to me and go, smell that? That's meat. Makes you want some, doesn't it? It's like, they don't get it. They don't get it. And it's like, I don't miss the taste of meat. I don't have a craving for meat. I've been a vegan for quite some time, and before that I was a vegetarian. Meat, the flavors in meat are easily reproduced with plant-based products. But if I didn't have those, I'd be just as happy eating tofu and mushrooms. I mean, today I made myself some nachos with some, soy curls, and you just have to know the right seasonings to make it taste like ground meat. But I mean, it's not about what I like the taste of. It's about, I don't want my stomach to be a graveyard. Because of my Buddhist ethics and the precept of non-killing, I have a deeper appreciation as to what other sentient beings are, as opposed to when I was a Christian. When I was raised a Christian, a Southern Baptist to be exact, in my home in Houston, Texas, with my parents, I was taught that God created animals for man to do with as he pleases. That's why they were created, for us. And if you look at a lot of Christian videos, on the street videos, with vegans asking people why they're not vegan, a lot of Christians will come up and say, well, because animals were created for us to use as we please. They're here for our pleasure. And of course, there's nothing more arrogant than that. But as a Buddhist, I understand I was a duck. I was a bug. I was an amoeba. I was a fly, a mosquito, a blue whale, a bat. I was an unseen being. I was a Mara. I was a god. I was a Deva. I was a Preta. I was a hungry ghost. There is nothing that I haven't been in a previous life. And all of these animals, from the highest, the so-called highest to the lowest, were at one time in previous lives my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, my lover, my husband, my wife, my children, and vice versa. I am a vegan because, to the best of my ability, I seek not to kill anything, anyone. And by anyone, I mean all sentient beings. Now, does that mean I don't occasionally swat a fly or step on an ant or kill a roach? I'm not perfect. And yeah, that makes me a hypocrite. But I choose to be vegan because that is the most ethical stance I can take. And furthermore, I am a firm believer in karma, as I've said in previous videos. The idea of producing bad karma through the suffering, bringing about and supporting the suffering of others, I don't need any more bad karma than I already have from the past. It's hard enough dealing with my bad karma from previous lifetimes without producing more intentionally. And I just don't feel that personal taste is worth murder. Now, I have a lot of friends, co-workers, whatever, who are not vegan. And that's okay. You do you. And I have no problem with that. And I know there are a lot of vegans that are going to hear this and become very angry and unsubscribe. Let me clarify what I mean by that. I have this YouTube channel to share with others why I am vegan. As of yet, I have not gotten to the point where I feel that it is my right or my karmic destiny to police the habits of others, to attack others for the way they live their lives. And that's not just non-vegans, that's drug dealers, prostitutes. Because I'm not just a vegan, I'm a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist, and a traditional one at that. An orthodox Jodo Shinshu Buddhist. There's a story about the founder of our Jodo Shinshu school, his teacher Honen. Our founder is Shinran Shonin. And his teacher, Master Honen, encountered a prostitute. And he told her, I guess she asked for spiritual advice, and he told her, look, it is terrible that you have this deplorable profession of prostituting yourself out. If possible, I would like for you to find a better, more ethical way of supporting yourself. But if at this point in your life, due to your bad karma, you are unable to do so, entrust yourself to Amitabha Buddha, say his name in faith, and wish to be born in his pure land of ultimate bliss and peace. My role as a vegan activist at this point in my life is to live by example. And I'm not a perfect example. But instead of attacking people who ask me why I'm vegan, or try to do the stupid thing of, meat, don't you wish you had some? My response last time to this question was, yeah, don't hold your breath in expecting me to convert to being a carnivore anytime soon. And they asked me, why are you vegan? I said, because of the precept of non-killing. In other words, I'm vegan for the animals. But it's not just for the animals, it's for me. It's for karma. It's for honoring the Buddha. There's a lot more involved, as far as I'm concerned, as an ethical vegan than just for the animals. It is mainly for the animals. Of course, that's what veganism is. That is the definition of respecting all life as wherever humanly possible. But like I said, I'm not perfect. I probably I try to watch for every ant I see on the sidewalk, but there's no doubt in my mind that I have stepped on quite a few bugs, worms. I've swatted flies, mosquitoes, I've killed roaches intentionally. at times. I'm not perfect. I am what we call in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism a bambu, a spiritual idiot. And I recognize this in myself. So putting my vegan lifestyle under a microscope and saying, see, you admit it. It's like, yeah, I admit it. I'm not perfect. It's not about perfection. You know, well, yeah, you see, mice and moles and bugs, they get killed during the threshing process and the harvesting process. Well, yeah. And there are dead zones caused from runoff at pig farms and dairy farms. Not to even touch on the carnage and torture and rape of insemination and the abuse and the violence and evil and incarceration and enslavement of animals that are brought into this world to be nothing more than, as my parents used to teach me, used by man as he sees fit. That's bullshit. Am I better because I'm vegan? I don't know. I don't care. It's not about me being better. It's not about, where do you get your protein? By the way, I don't know where that comes from. I guess the meat, egg, and dairy industries, they put it, somehow successfully brainwashed everybody into thinking you can only get protein through animal products. That is not true. I do not have a protein deficiency. And I take a B12 vitamin supplement every day, and I drink, energy drinks that have B12 in them. So that's not a problem. I get all my vitamins from plant sources. All my necessary nutrients come from plant-based sources, non-animal based products. So why am I a vegan? I've always wanted to be one. I've always found it interesting. And I must think that in a previous life I had some encounter with a Buddha or with some kind of spiritual teacher that taught about the virtues of respecting all life, not just human life. Because even as a child, I wanted to be a vegetarian. I didn't even know what the word vegan was, but I wanted to eat as few animal-based products as possible. But, my country bred, and they weren't stupid, but I mean, they were very country people, my mom and dad, and they had that mentality, that Baptist Christian mentality. God created animals basically they were telling me that if I did not eat animals, I was not respecting and honoring God for creating them for me to have killed and tortured and butchered for me to wear as clothing, for me to eat as food. That's the thing, I don't even consider that food anymore. Food is food. Eating the corpse of another animal is just barbaric to me now. And no, I'm not a snowflake. No, I'm not a libtard. No, I'm not this, that, or the other. I'm not political at all. I don't have an agenda. My agenda is to live as close to what Shakyamuni taught as possible. my agenda is to honor Amida Buddha as much as possible. Why am I a vegan? I like it. I guess if that's, bottom line, aside from not killing and respecting life, I like being a vegan. I like the idea that I'm consciously living as much as I can without the use of animal-based products. I'm happy with the idea that I choose in this lifetime, as brief as it is, not to bring harm as much as I possibly can. Albeit imperfectly. Veganism is not being better than anyone else or thinking you're better than anyone else. Veganism is not about feeling superior to anyone else. It's certainly not about hoping that meat eaters die of cancer or heart disease or gloating about this. That's just evil, and in my opinion, that goes against the entire ethical philosophy of being a vegan. There's certain so-called, well, let me put it this way. There are people who consider themselves to be vegans, certain people, who delight in the suffering of others. Who delight in hurting others who are not vegan, even to the extent of tormenting and trolling their children. These are not vegans. They may have a plant-based diet. They are not vegan. Veganism is making people aware that there is a better way of doing things when it comes to what you wear, what you eat, how you act. Other lives matter beyond human. There are other lives that have their happiness, that feel happiness, feel sadness, who suffer pain. And it's not up to me to say, well, they're not human, so therefore any suffering they go through, that's not real suffering. Well, fuck that. That's bullshit. That's stupidity, and it's choosing to be ignorant in order to choose a sick, dysfunctional form of bliss. Ignorance may be bliss, but it doesn't make it correct. It's not my job to decide who should live or die. And sometimes I do that, like I said. If a bug bites me, I'm more than likely to either try to make it go away, but there are times I've swatted a fly, I've swatted a mosquito. I've killed these animals, but I realize I'm killing it. Does it make it right? No. Should I do that? No. I should find better ways of, but that's the thing, I'm not perfect. But I'm not going to convince people to be vegan by being an asshole about it. Let people know there's another way of living. A way that shows more respect to all sentient beings. But that also includes showing respect to humans. not shaming and attacking someone. Now, if they come up and attack you and mock you for being vegan, hey, the gloves are off. You know, you don't just sit there and let someone shove pins in you. Eventually, you have to say something. In my video on my other channel today, I talked about narcissists. And I've encountered, as a person who is an empath, very passive, the typical Virgo, you know, I've been seen as fair game for a lot of narcissists during the course of my life. Hell, I was raised with someone who was a horrible narcissist, and I've gone no contact with that person. And they're going to be assholes that do the bacon shit or meat. There's nothing about bacon or meat or any dead animal part that makes me want to go, I wish I had a good chicken leg right now. I wish I had some shrimp cocktail. I know where to find plant-based versions of these products if I want it. And they don't involve the death of any living being. Why am I a vegan? Mainly because the Buddha, on his deathbed, before he went into parinirvana, said, all my true disciples from this point should choose not to eat meat. And honestly, that's a good enough reason for me. Namo Amida Butsu.